Welcome back to this year's Halloween horror mayhem. Today's pick is so fresh off the festival circuit. Not only is there no trailer and no release date yet, it's also unclear under which title it goes. But no matter if it's going to be After Midnight, something else, or something else completely, if you're looking for a bizarre but genuine heartfelt little genre mashup, you might want to put this one on your list.
It could be a squid with like 6 eyes, or it could have like no eyes and see with emotions and...
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and I just saw Something Else at this year's Slash Film Festival. It was directed by Gardner and Stella, and it is a peculiar mixture of horror, oddball humor and relationship or character drama. Gardner also wrote the screenplay and stars as the protagonist Hank, a 30-something-year-old who is living with his girlfriend Abby, played by Bria Grant, in an old country house somewhere in rural Florida. The whole film is told with constant little flashbacks woven in that show us happier times of this lovely couple 10-year relationship. Because in the present, Abby has just left Hank, leaving just a cryptic note. Of course, Hank is absolutely crushed, and on top of that, with Abby's leaving, something else has changed. Each and every night, more specifically after midnight, hence one of the two titles, a mysterious monster is trying to break into their house. But is there really a monster, or is it just Hank's imagination, his grief, or his guilt running wild? Of course, I won't tell you which route the movie is finally going, but Hank has a hard time convincing his two friends Wade and Shane that the monster actually exists. Something Else is a very low-budget movie. There are only very few locations, very few characters, and the look of the film varies between very ordinary with many just plain framings, but also some sophisticated shots and edits. I would say it's very minimalistic, but with its limited resources it's able to create a very peculiar, very alluring feeling. It moves at a very slow pace, and I'm absolutely certain that it won't be for everyone. There's not much happening, and if you don't have a weak spot for characters like Hank, you might end up feeling bored or even annoyed. But I found it to be quite relatable. Hank has this sulking, self-pitying quality. His girlfriend has just left him, and probably for understandable reasons, and he's just drinking, contemplating, and of course trying to fight off a monster at night. Something Else has a nice and sometimes very funny Florida hillbilly vibe to it. It's super hot all the time, humid, sweaty, dirty, and there's a lot of booze consumed. In an early scene, Hank is hanging out with his best friend at a bar, and Wade, played by Henry Zabrowski, is a real oddball, but you can really feel their friendship, and I think the film's emotional core feels very honest. This is a relationship movie, a character drama, that happens to have a monster in it as well. The little romantic flashbacks even have a touch of Terrence Malick. They have a touch of sublimity and grandeur in the way they are shot. Gardner portrays Hank with a naive sweetness, the right amount of lovable, I guess. In the second half of the film there's a shot that runs for probably over 10 minutes, and it's just two people talking. It's really hard to pull off something like this because it has to be carried by the acting and dialogue alone, but I found it to be really sweet and touching. Now I do think that Something Else gets a little bit repetitive with the monster encounters, and it's also not a movie that's super groundbreaking or extreme, but it's a nice and sweet little genre mix, and I thought the ending was quite beautiful. To tell this kind of story in a more supernatural fashion is refreshing, and it makes you think what the monster might stand for. Maybe it's Hank's fear of leaving his comfort zone. After all, Abby was frustrated with their same old routine. But in the end, it's up to you what you might take away from it. So in German I'd say, eine schöne, aufrichtige und zuweilen auch romantische kleine Beziehungskiste, eingepackt in einen Monsterfilm. Warum nicht? I give Something Else 7 out of 10. It's more like 6.8, but I don't do that. Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Something Else or After Midnight once it has been released. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd simply at TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like, and make sure you hit that bell for Life to Tell.